morning, Vlogmas day 23. Apparently, sleeping in doesn't happen anymore. I heard Glenn get up at 5 and I laid in bed for a little bit, but then I got up, so it's early. But getting up early means I can be more productive throughout the day, right? Maybe. Alrighty, green, green, or green. 3 minis left. These are not all solid green. Oh my gosh. You guys, I seriously love this one. I've been wanting to pick this color since day one. It's probably, I mean, I don't know how it's going to knit up, but in the little mini skein, it is my favorite color by far. This is called Primrose, and it is by Black Trillium Fibers. So yeah, I'm going to go get this started because I cannot wait. Purple, pink, green, lots of white, some orange. It's going to be gorgeous. You guys, it's still dark outside and my square is finished for the day, which means I'm going to have a lot of crafting time today, which is awesome. Hey guys, so I have been working my butt off. It is now 9 o'clock and I have been working on my bits and bobs blanket, which seems to be a huge mess at the moment. That is what it looks like so far. That is a dark blue, not black. It's just the lighting isn't great. And if you're curious about how I'm changing colors, I am literally just cutting it when I get bored of a color and moving on. And believe it or not, this orange and this orange are not the same. The first one I think is just a regular red heart, and this one is red heart soft or something like that. The blanket is not without mistakes. There you see I split a stitch. It goes across the back part way. And I'm not going to look too hard for it, but at one point I got confused in the stitches. I know how to read the stitches now. It's not hard, but I will say at first I was a little confused. Like if I lost track, there's essentially 2 stitches you're using throughout, and if I lost track of what stitch I was on, I wasn't quite sure how to figure it out. I'm also not sure how to count how many rows this is. There seem to be 6 knit stitches here, which I think means I've done 12 rows. And if I've only done 12 rows, oh my goodness, you guys, this is going to take forever. Because although there's only 161 stitches across, these gigantic needles are not fast to knit with. You saw me do a little sample of that last night. So yeah, it's gonna be big. This is only a twin size too. I had thoughts of doing a king size for my bed, and I can say I don't know if that's gonna happen. Very enjoyable knit, just a bit humongous at this point, and of course it's only gonna keep growing. The other thing I wanted to show you guys was a little recap of well, not so little, I guess, a recap of my 2017 BoxOSox, because I've been done with that for a while now. I managed to knit 13 pairs of socks for myself and a total of 23 pairs in all. So, trying to do mental math, it's never a strong point. Okay, so 13 pairs for me. I knit 2 gift pairs for people other than Glenn, which means Glenn got 8 pairs of socks this year. I'm not going to show you all the ones I knit for him, simply because I don't know where they all are. But I am going to show you the ones I knit for myself. These I knit in January. It's the monkey socks. I have my list over there, so if you see me looking, that's why. Monkey socks, this is in Blue Moon Fiber Arts Socks That Rock, in the Coastal Sunset Celebration colorway. This is a special color that is dyed up for Coastal Yarns in Cannon Beach, Oregon, and it is an exclusive to their shop. So I'm not sure if they have an online store, but you could definitely call them and order it if you were so inclined to do so. I really love how these knit up, and they are super soft. This is in like the medium weight, so I think it's more of a sport, but I still did 64 inches on a 2.25 needle. I have no idea how they're gonna fit. I did my Kiss the Partridge Heel, which I think looks really pretty in this yarn. And yes, although I have 2 of each sock, I'm only going to show you one for the ease of sock blockers. I only have 1 set of these, which I like the best. And I have 2 socks. I'm only showing you one. There's something else I was going to say. Totally losing it. It's one of those days. It's Saturday. My brain doesn't actually need to work. But I know there's something else. Hopefully it will come to me. My second pair of socks is this beautiful pink pair. I knit these in February. I thought they were perfect for Valentine's Day. I know what I was going to say. I haven't worn any of these, none of them. So I'm very excited to start wearing these. Anyway, back to the sock. It is Witch Candy Yarns in the color Lily Purlitzer, and I love those pops of green. They're so pretty. Mercury sock pattern, Kiss the Partridge Heel, which is my heel pattern on Ravelry. And I love the way these look, but I did not love knitting the Mercury sock pattern. I'm not sure why. Maybe if I revisited it, I would enjoy it better now. But I know many people loved it. I just found it slow. Probably going back between knits and purls. I don't know. It's been so long. I don't remember exactly how to knit it, but it was good, and I can't wait to wear them. I'm going to pause in between putting the socks on sock blockers just so that you don't have to deal with all that. Alrighty, pair number 3 is the Grand Central Socks by Mina Phillip. Again, I used the Kiss the Partridge Heel. And the yarn is Yarn Cafe Creations in the Mermaid Party color. And I love this color. I love this color so much. It was absolutely fun to knit. I don't recall if I like the pattern or not. That's the problem with it's been a year. I don't know. But yeah, they're done now, so I get to wear them soon. 4th pair is the Avenues, also by Mina Phillip. Barocco sock, and apparently these don't have color names. It has a number, 1413. This was my very first afterthought heel ever, and I used the Kirby Werby tutorial. Excuse me. And not much else to say about these. You can see I started with the pattern here, like every so often, and then I switched to just on the color changes because that's where you could actually see it. So the other sock is just the color changes, but yeah, it'll be up in my pants. Who cares? Okay, pair number 5 are the Union Square socks by Mina Phillip. This is the very first pair of socks I have still to this day ever knit myself out of Patton's Croy, and this is in the color Sweet Stripes. I loved working with this yarn, and I'm hoping that because this yarn's a little thicker, it might help keep my feet warm. I constantly have cold feet, even in wool socks. Like, not all the time, but my feet are usually just freezing cold, so I'm hoping a little bit thicker will help. Pair number 6 is Times Square socks by Mina Phillip. If you haven't noticed a trend here yet, you should. I bought her entire collection, although I did not knit every single pair. These had a mock cable on them, and they're knit out of Ice Yarn's Magic Sock, and they don't really do colorway names. The color would be something like yellow, green, blue, purple, pink. So it's just the colors that are in it. I like the way these look, but I recall not enjoying knitting them. I don't remember why, except for they made my hands hurt. So when I did Glenn's pair like this, I cut out the mock cable and I just did like a ribbed sock. So I followed her pattern of the ribbing, you know, how many knit stitches, how many purls, and then just left out the cable effect look. Pair number 7 is a plain vanilla pair, and these are super special because I knit them while I was on vacation in Puerto Vallarta. The main color is Creative Obsession in the Wake Me Up Before You Go Go color, and the heel, cuff, and toe are Plymouth Yarns Neon Now, and I don't have the colorway name of that written down. Luckily, someone told me that this contrasting color bleeds like crazy, and it's true, it does, even when I put vinegar in the water. So if you have any of that yarn, it's discontinued now, but be super careful. This sock is absolutely beautiful. I don't think that the bleeding heel, cuff, and toe damaged the yarn at all. If it did, it blends in well enough that you can't really tell, but I absolutely love these. My 8th pair is the very first pair of socks I made using my very own pattern, which is called a 1 sock, 2 socks magic recipe, which is free on Ravelry. It's a pattern that's written up to do 1 long sock tube and end up making 2 socks out of that tube by adding the heel, toe, and the heel, the toe, and the cuff separately once the tube is separated. So this again was an afterthought heel, and you'll notice these are shorter than my average socks, which usually come to about here, because I was able to get the entire sock out of 1 50-gram ball of Felici using the contrast, and the contrast is Knit Picks Stroll Brights in the raspberry color. The main Felici color is Punch Bug. So those were pretty fun to knit. I enjoyed the pattern. I made it up. So if you're looking to do something like that, either to make really, really tall socks or use up a smaller amount of yarn and get the most inches out of it, check that out on Ravelry. Pair number 9 is the exact same pattern, the 1 sock, 2 sock magic recipe. Again, it's Felici in the Sonora Sunset colorway with contrasting Knit Picks Stroll Hot Tamale. And this is the pair that I used for the pattern photo, the main pattern page photo. My 10th pair is a pattern by Lily of Nordic Stitches called In Line for Pumpkin Spice Latte. It's in Cascade Heritage Wave in the color Solar. This was my very first, well, not my very first, because I knit a heel flap and gusset on a pair from 2016, but this is only my second heel flap and gusset ever, and I used the one from Hermione's Everyday Sock. This has cables on each side of the sock, and this you wear to the outside of your foot, so this would be the left foot sock, and the right is just the opposite. So that is what that side looks like, and here's what the other side looks like. There's actually 3 rows of these little cables that look like pumpkins. Looks like I screwed one up there. I didn't realize I had made any mistakes, but I found one. Don't you love when you find them on camera? I love the color. It's not as obvious in this sock, but it is a very gradual color changing yarn. So obviously you can see the toe is much lighter. Really enjoyed knitting those. Pair number 11 are what I call my Swamp Monster socks. This was the very first time I ever tried to dye yarn, and I didn't have any bare yarn, so I did an over dye. In my mind, this was going to come out orange and green. I over dyed a skein of Ice Yarn's Magic Sock, which is a self-striping, and instead it came out green, and I mean it's got some orange, but the orange came out more brown. You can see there it's orangey brown. Anyway, so yeah, I called them my ugly Swamp Monster socks or something like that, but in truth I actually really love them. I think they're very unique, and you'll definitely not find this anywhere else. So I did a heel, I think a slip stitch heel flap and gusset here. Because although I've made a lot of pairs of socks, I'm still really experimenting. And I think the drawback of not wearing my socks right after I make them is that I don't get my own feedback until, the next year. And by then I'm doing something else. So I don't know that the BoxOSox is the best way to go about things, but it is fun to have an entire new set of socks to wear. So on this sock was the very first time I also did what's called a rounded toe. which I really like. So if you guys watch, oh gosh, it's Squirrel Pie Productions with Tommy Dynamite Trujillo. This is the same toe that she uses, and what you do, rather than having that decrease line on each side of the toe, you start out by decreasing. You knit 6, decrease, knit 2 together, knit 6, decrease 2 together, then you knit 6 rows. Then you knit 5, knit 2 together, knit 5, knit 2 together, and then you knit 5 rows. And so you keep going in that manner until you have like 8 stitches on each needle, and then you do a Kitchener. Now that isn't the actual way the pattern's written. The actual pattern has you do that, and then you cut your yarn, you loop it through the live stitches, and you pull it through, kind of like you do with a hat. But I agree, I think this is going to be a much stronger join or finish. So I am excited to try those out and see how they work for me. My 12th pair, we're getting close here, is the very first pair of scrappy socks I ever did, and these were for the Happy Scrappy Knit Along or something like that, by Lisa of Sock Yarn Swappers. So I will not be telling you all the yarns for this because I have no idea what they all are. I used sock yarn minis from Lisa from her group on Ravelry called Sock Yarn Swappers, as well as some from Row 1 Yarns. But I love how they turned out. I again did the heel flap and gusset, as well as that same rounded toe that I just explained. And if you're curious, the other one is completely identical to this, like to the stitch identical. And I did that by taking the mini I had and putting a button on it, and then I'd knit a couple rows on this sock, I'd knit a couple rows on the other one, so I would end up with the exact same amount of yarn on each. All right, my very final pair of socks for the year for me is the Country Roads pattern by Lily of Nordic Stitches. It is a actual cable that runs all the way from the toe, up the leg, and to the cuff. So again, this pattern, this would be the left foot, the right foot's on the opposite side. This is the very first time I ever tried a garter Fish Lips Kiss heel, so I'm interested to see how that fits. And yeah, I'm so conflicted for next year. I've already pre-ordered, I think, 18 pairs or 18 patterns for socks in 2017. That's both of Mina Phillips' sock pattern clubs, which I'm not remembering what they're called. One's called Wonderlust and maybe one's called Cozy or something like that. And as well as Helen Stewart's Surprise Sock Club, or I don't remember the exact title of it, but I have expressed the fact that I want to finish a bunch of patterns. I started a lot more socks for myself in 2017 that I didn't finish. I'd like to get everything off the needles, and of course my Bits and Bobs blanket isn't helping me get things finished. So I'm very much in a mindset of I just want to finish things, and I kind of want to work on one project until it's finished. So I don't know. I want to cast on for those January socks in January, but another part of me just wants to finish things. So I'm thinking BoxOSox 2018 just probably isn't going to happen, and I might just start wearing them as soon as they're done. I don't know. That's my thought process right this very minute. It seems to change as soon as I say what it is, so I'll keep you updated. Oh my gosh, you guys. So you know how I said all I have to do is say something and then I immediately change my mind? That's true again today. By the way, I look awesome because we went for a walk and I had a hat on and I didn't bother to redo my hair. Also, this shirt is so true today. Can you read that? I'm so freaking cold. Yep, so true. Anyway, so I got more work done on my Bits and Bobs, which is very bunched up on needles, and yep, that is the right side. It doesn't really matter, but that's the right side. So that's that, and I really just wanted to keep working on that but I noticed my right shoulder was being painful because, you know, I have to go like this every time. It's not that drastic, but I have to swoop the yarn over the needle each time because I can't just do it with my finger. And I don't want to keep doing that to the point of like really injuring my shoulder. So I can still feel it. It's still a little sore. Not bad, but enough that I need to take a little break. So that's going to have to be a project that I just work on maybe an hour a day, if that, or, you know, an hour a day that I have time to do it. So, yes, my whole train of thought of like finish all the projects. So I'm going to have to go ahead and say that that will start after January 1st because I cast something on. So I mentioned earlier that my feet are always freezing, and I decided to try a pair of worsted weight socks. So this is Ice Yarn's Magic Sock, fingering, held double. I tried to line up the colors. They're changing almost exactly at the correct spot so far. I mean, who knows? This is only, you know, the first color repeat here. So hopefully that'll stay. If not, I'll do kind of like a marled effect, and it'll be fine because honestly, I foresee that I will only be wearing these at home. Every pattern I could find called for different size needles, but I was seeing a lot of like 3.75 millimeters, which I don't have. These are a US 4. So I thought, okay, well, I'm a tight knitter, so I'll just cast on using the 4s and the stitches that they say. And that was 48 stitches. And I started, and I got to about right here, and I tried it on. This is a Blueberry Waffles pattern, by the way. I tried it on, and it was ginormous. Like, it would have fit Glenn. It literally fit around the fattest part of my calf. So I ripped it all out, and I cast on 40 stitches. 40 stitches! Isn't that amazing? So I tried this on. It goes up over my leg. I'm hoping that once I get to the heel, it will still fit up over my heel. But we'll see. It's an experiment because I can't find, well, I didn't look too hard, but I couldn't find any patterns that were for worsted socks and a 4.0 millimeter needle. Now I know I could gauge swatch and figure this all out, but it makes my brain hurt. I just want the pattern written. It's quite confusing to like try and figure that out, especially when you're so used to doing fingering weight socks. So on top of that, I'm about to cast on my second thing today, which is going to be out of this beautiful mess. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but this is truly like the only wool worsted yarn that I have. It's Malabrigo in the Little Lovely color. I have 2 skeins of this. So I'm going to cake both up, and I think I'm going to make the traveling cables hat, which is by Pearl Soho. It's the same one that I made Glenn last year. But I realized I have been knitting almost 2 years in February, and I don't have a hat that I've made. Like, I was wearing this little acrylic fingering weight hat, which is neon orange, by the way. I love it. But it's just a store-bought. I think it cost me $5 on sale. Store-bought hat, and my head was freezing. Like, it, because I wear my hair in a bun, and I don't want to take it out. I want something that fits over the top of my bun and still covers my ears. So I'm just going to make something because, you know, although I want to finish all my projects, I feel like as a knitter, I should not have to be freezing cold when I go outside. And it was beautiful weather today. I mean, it's very cold. It was a little bit windy, but sunny, clear, just like that perfect winter day. And so that was really nice, but freezing. So I'm going to try and remedy that. Again, I don't know how this yarn is going to work up in cables. And I don't know if I care, honestly. I mean, this is already kind of a weird color, I think, color combination. And I already wear a neon orange hat when I'm out and about, so I don't think I really care. I just want something to keep me warm. So anyway, I'm going to skein that up. I'm going to cast that on tonight. And yeah. Then I'm going to finish all the projects on the needles. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up so I can get it uploaded. This is going to be a very long episode. It's practically, or long Vlogmas, I guess. It's practically going to be a podcast episode, so I hope you guys have some time over the Christmas weekend to enjoy this. I'll talk to you tomorrow, which is Christmas Eve.